What is going on, people of the internet world? Trey here for the Blurcher. We got RJ, we got Hero Harrison, we got Dez. You know, we back with another video for you guys. We are going to talk about the Fresh Prince reunion today, and kind of what our thoughts were about it, how it affected us. Maybe dive into a little bit of Fresh Prince history for you guys, and just see what's going on with that. So, anything y'all want to add before we get into it?
Oh, I'm ready to dive right in. Well, what's up, Jay?
I think, do we got any news to talk about for like any fans out there, just for anything Marvel, DC, anime? I know we talked about it in the podcast, but does anyone got anything to say?
Nope.
Not that I could think of.
Nope.
Wonder Woman. Oh, yeah, Wonder Woman. So for those who don't know, Wonder Woman will be released on HBO Max and in theaters on the same day. I think it's Christmas Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting for, just to see what happens with that. See who sees it in the theaters, who watches it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Either way, it's getting watched.
For those of you who don't know, you can see at the bottom, scroll to follow us on all social media platforms at For the Blurcher, where you can be updated on all the latest nerd entertainment, TV, movies, games, comic book news at For the Blurcher.
Hey, there we go. All right. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So my first question for you guys were, what are some 3 words you can describe the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Let's let our guests take the one first.
I'll go first.
Desiree.
Let's see, right off the dome. Black.
Okay. I mean, that works.
I mean,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Right. It's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, royalty.
Okay.
Fun.
Okay. Fair.
I'm with that.
Me personally, I would say swaggy.
Oh.
I would say poetic. And I would say charismatic.
Okay. Good word choice. Good word choice. RJ.
Hard act to follow. I should have just jumped in there first. I got followed by YouTube. I would say groundbreaking. I guess being the first, not first, but one of the few affluent Black families on TV. So I would say groundbreaking. I want to say groundbreaking. Hilarious. So many good laughs, so many good memories, and iconic.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. I think I would say probably it's a very cultural show. Call it cultural. Dang, you guys kind of used some of my words. I was gonna say cultural, emotional.
Okay.
Very emotional show at some times. And did we say educational?
No,
we did not.
Educational.
Okay. I see you.
Educational. Because
You got it.
yeah, because the life lessons that you learn from this show are just kind of phenomenal in that point, especially with the grade A cast that they had, that you can see their chemistry on film. I thought it was really good to that point as well. So yeah, how has the Fresh Prince kind of affected your guys' life? Like, how have you taken the lessons that you've learned from Fresh Prince, or do you quote Fresh Prince a lot? How do you see Fresh Prince in your lives?
I'm gonna jump in first so that way Desiree and Jay don't take my answers. I'll say Fresh Prince has affected my life. And we were talking about this before we, signed on, but before we recorded, Fresh Prince probably for me affected me more so when I was an adult because as a child I really couldn't grasp the concept of just the black excellence. So for me, it kind of gave me something to not look up to, but more so I don't know. It gave me more of a sense of pride in my walk in adult life.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
I would have to say for me personally, like I'm from Philly. So
Okay, you can relate.
definitely relate to Will and some of his, his struggles having family out there and just it's just a whole different world compared to everywhere else. So it kind of made me feel more proud to be where I'm from as a child. But I will
Okay.
agree with RJ when he says that it was hard to grasp the concept of like what was really happening in the show educational wise when you were a child. But as an adult, it makes you appreciate it more when you rewatch those episodes.
Yeah.
There's so many different lessons that you learn from the Fresh Prince. So a lot of the stuff that we see in those episodes reign true today. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Fortunately and unfortunately.
Exactly.
Yeah. Both, yeah.
Both.
Me personally, I just like, coming in the house and going, I think the Fresh Prince has affected my life, just as far as seeing a older version of me before I was actually older, because obviously I was young. I was barely born in the 90s when that show came out. So, I saw like the last seasons of it. But, I think that me seeing myself in an older version is what kind of prepared me for what, is going to take me through this journey of being a black man in this life. So there's a lot of elements that I just seen in real life and in the show that, were portrayed through this. And I think it's important for people, like us that look like us, have to watch this show because they need to know all different sides from it. It's not just people my skin color; it's light skinned people, it's brown skinned people, dark skin. So, and we're all different, but we're all the same. So I think every person that's black needs to watch the show.
I agree with that 100%. Because if you guys haven't seen at least one episode of Fresh Prince at this point in your life, go watch it. Go watch it right now. But I would say Fresh Prince affected my life a lot. First of all, I'm a huge Will Smith fan. He has done some questionable things, but other than that, huge Will Smith fan. I grew up watching it. Obviously, I wasn't there for the original airings of the shows, but it was always on reruns on some channel. So
always.
And I didn't really have a father figure in my life to look up to, so I looked up to Uncle Phil. I looked up to the lessons that he gave, and I tried to kind of be like that, and just kind of live my life like that. Plus, they always dress so good, so I kind of had to
on that show.
Fly.
Street fly. And
I try to somewhat dress like that in today's day and age, because there's some things I'm just like, that could be left in the 90s. Like the parachute pants, I can't pull that off.
Yeah, keep going.
Let me get started on this rainbow parachute pants. Like, just pull up. Like, what with the wind and then just hit your pants and then you flying somewhere.
Hey, you taking off. But so what were your guys' first reactions to seeing everybody together? What was that like for you guys? See everyone grown up.
Oof, I feel like they haven't really aged as much. Put that out there. But seeing them together, yeah, and that's why it was easy to kind of like, I don't know, it was just a beautiful thing. Basically, it was a beautiful thing. Although they're all adults right now, still, like, I look at Tatiana, I see Ashley, even though
Mhm.
she's a grown woman. I still see that little girl, you know. It was a very beautiful moment, and I kind of knew that they were going to do this in a way.
Okay.
It just had
Yeah.
to happen. Yeah.
Absolutely. With such an iconic show like that, you gotta do something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake, what about you?
I thought, this was gonna happen eventually. Just I know it's gonna happen like right at this moment, but it was good seeing everyone come together just because it was long overdue, and seeing everyone. I don't think anybody really aged too bad or aged too much for the most part, because black don't crack, so we always gonna look good. I'm gonna look the same at 58. You're gonna look the same at 69, whatever. So,
Yeah.
but it was cool seeing just how they still had that chemistry, and like there's all smiles, it was like nothing, and like everybody remembered special moments, or if they didn't remember, they brought them back to that special moment. So
Mm-hmm.
it was fun to see that and all just like bond together.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy seeing everybody together. As you know, to piggyback off what Jay said, they all seem to genuinely have this chemistry together. They genuinely like each other. I know a lot of times coworkers, we can work together, but we're not friends. We don't care about each other outside of this. But I really felt like it was an actual family reunion with the whole cast,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, like I said, it was emotional seeing everybody, grow older and like I said, everybody aged well. Like I still see Tatiana Ali as Ashley. I still see Karen. I forgot her last name as Hillary. Everybody just seemed so happy to be there. It wasn't like a forced I'm doing this for a check kind of feel. I feel like everybody genuinely came because they wanted to reunite and I think they did it at the right time. I think 2020 has been a crazy year for everybody, and I feel like this is a year for reconciliation for a lot of people. Burying the hatchet with a lot of people. So I'm glad. I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely happy to see all of this, come to fruition. These iconic characters that we see, grow up with pretty much. And now you see them all grown up. They look slightly different, but they still look the same. Because, like Jake said, black don't crack for the most part. For the most part, there are some exceptions.
Some exceptions to the rule.
But yeah, let's see. What are your opinion? No, I'm not gonna ask that. We kind of went over that, but did you? So they talk about in the show, kind of some of the first moments that the first few episodes, Will Smith mouths everyone's lines. And my question for you guys was, did you ever notice that before watching this reunion? Because I did not. I had never noticed that.
Um, I didn't. I don't know about y'all. I didn't notice that. I feel like I've read that before, but I don't think I've ever went back and watched those first couple of episodes of seeing him mouth. And it's funny because I was talking to somebody and it was like, how do you remember everybody's lines? And I'm like, yo, my mom can quote Save the Last Dance from start to finish. Yes, like everybody's lines. Nikki, Sarah, Derek, she know the whole script to Save the Last Dance. And it's just a testament that if you watch something enough or read something enough, you can repeat line for line. My mom, if you give my mom a couple wigs, she could do a Save the Last Dance live. Like that's how much she knows that movie.
I feel that. I'm that way with ATL in the first Spider-Man. I could quote every single line from those.
Every line.
Oh my gosh. For me, I never noticed that Will, mouth everyone's lines, but speaking from an actress point of view, like I kind of when you're starting off acting, because he wasn't an actor in the beginning.
Mhm.
He was a rapper who was kind of transitioning into TV, and so that's why James Avery was kind of like, helping him out and stuff. So for me, it was kind of expected for him to do that in the beginning, because when I'm in my acting classes, a lot of my fellow actors do the same thing. And then eventually they learn how not to do it, how to just, know somebody's line
Okay.
and then be able to focus on how to react to them. So it's like a listening and reacting thing. Will was not listening clearly. It was only because he was mouthing someone else's line, and it's like, okay, I'm glad that you know it, but at the same time, like, you can't show it. So I think that was a very human moment. I'm glad that they were able to reveal that, because look at him now. He's like this A-list,
Yeah.
actor, and we get to
Absolutely.
kind of see where he began. He wasn't so perfect with acting. So
I think now I'm definitely gonna look harder at Will Smith in movies and whatever shows just to see if maybe he still does it.
Yeah.
oh,
That's
God.
what I'm gonna see.
That's
Jay,
every
did you
director's pet peeve too.
for real?
They're like,
Cut it out. Jay, did you ever notice it?
You know what? I actually think in one episode, I think I might have, like, because I'm pretty observant. I always like, listen sometimes and stare off into the background.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think there's one time I might have noticed it, but I didn't. I was just like, what?
It's something you didn't really put together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm like, is he reading lines? Like, that was my first thought. I was just like, why is he whispering in your ear or something? Like, what is he? I didn't know what he was doing, but I actually kind of noticed that in a few episodes. I was like, huh, that's weird, but yeah.
It's whatever could get you through the scene, right?
That's what I say. So I'm surprised. I mean, if I noticed it, I'd probably start laughing. So we had to cut the scene.
I'm surprised it made it into the actual show, because you would have thought that somebody behind the camera said, yo, he's moving his mouth. I'm pretty sure that's going to show up on film. Let's run that back without him doing that. Or let's shift the camera's focus from here to here.
Mhm.
Like, who's on payroll that's supposed to be doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be surprised. I mean, look at the Game of Thrones episodes. Like, how did that?
Oh yeah,
A coffee
cup.
like that. Yeah. One of them mistaken the Mandalorian too, where there was like somebody off to the side with like a watch on and a pair of jeans.
Oh man.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I have to see y'all the I have to post it. I think I don't know if it's like Doctor or something like that, but somebody had posted like the Mandalorian scene, and the guy was like with a beige like polo and like some jeans. You can kind of see him like trying to stand out of the way of the camera, but he was in the camera.
I've seen
I don't know.
that.
I gotta look.
I've seen that in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. There's some scene where they're all on a boat, and then you just see some dude in the background. He's just like in jeans, a t-shirt, and a cowboy hat, just peering off the side of the boat. And you're just like, what? what is he doing there?
That is hilarious, man.
Wow.
Human error. Gotta love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You love to see it. You love to see him.
Yeah, definitely. Always.
So my next question for you guys is, did y'all know about Quincy Jones' involvement in the development of the show? How he kind of steamrolled the whole thing to get it, like, I think it was like 6 weeks till they got their first episode, and Quincy Jones was like the mastermind behind all of it. Did y'all know about that? Or if you didn't, how do you feel about that?
So I knew about that. Part of my job as an actress is to kind of like study these things with different like sitcoms and shows and film. But yeah, and I'm not surprised by it. He does everything pretty much. At least back then he did. I think he's sitting his butt down now. But he's pretty much the mastermind of like all things and music production, all of it. So I knew about it too.
No, actually, I did not know about that. That's a whole mystery to me.
I was clueless. I follow music too, and I know his contribution to music, but I had no idea that he was the mastermind behind Fresh Prince, and I didn't know it could happen that fast. Quincy Jones, if you're watching this, I have mad ideas. Like mad ideas. Hit me up. And, we can take our time, work through it. But I have dramas, sci-fis, actions, thrillers. You name it, I got it. You want a show? Come holler at me for the Blurcher. Let's go. But I had no idea, man. But this to stress. This is why reunion shows are important, and behind the scenes stuff is important because we get to learn things that we would have never known otherwise. So I think it's great that we got to see a lot of backstage footage, the warm-ups before the show, things that we don't get to see because we weren't there. And so I want to say that I really like the fact that they let us in on how the Fresh Prince, got the ball rolling.
I agree. Yeah, I thought that. So I had no idea Quincy Jones had any involvement in Fresh Prince. Actually, I think I read something about it vaguely a long time ago, but I forgot about it until we watched this reunion. And then I just thought that it was so cool that, Will Smith literally left on tour, came back and was like, "Oh, I have a show." And it's all because of Quincy Jones. Like, what a goat Quincy Jones is to just do all that and pretty much set Will on the path that he went on to become this A-list celebrity he is.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Quincy Jones is the GOAT, handing out shows to people. Meanwhile, I'm a social worker, not making money.
I'm just doing online orders. I'm just doing online. Hey Quincy, we're here. Send us some work.
Send this to him. You guys can
we're
send
charismatic.
We are. We really are.
Really, a lot of energy in this room.
So another staple of Fresh Prince is Will and Carlton's relationship and how they kind of grow together as, they start off as relatives, but then you see them grow into siblings pretty much. My question for you guys is, how do y'all feel about their relationship? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And which one is your favorite, Will or Carlton?
Me, white man. Okay.
I just threw that last one in there.
All right. I like the fact that, I mean, we pretty much knew how that was going to end with those two getting as close as they were, but it was nice to see it organically happen. It wasn't like season one, we're butting heads, and in season two, all best friends for life, siblings, brothers. I like the fact that each season their bond got stronger and stronger. Their chemistry together is just, I don't know, they're like, it's like lightning in a bottle with those two. I don't know, because I want, correct me if I'm wrong, but they say that they started running around at the table read or something like that, and you don't find chemistry that instant with everybody, except with us, hint Quincy Jones. If you're looking for people to break shit down, we're here. But you don't see chemistry like that off the jump, and so for me, I just thought it was very one of the staples of the show was those two interacting with each other, growing and bonding, and virtually end up being siblings. As me, I only have sisters, so I feel like to move into this rich house and to gain a brother, that'd be dope, that'd be awesome. So I enjoyed how they ended up. And as far as like who's my favorite, I'd have to say Carlton, because I identify with Carlton a little more because I'm more of a dork than anything. I'm not the cool one. I'm not the fly one. Hell, y'all see what I got on now. Like I said, it's not my thing. I don't have that in me. And so I always identify with Carlton a little bit more because he's more of an outcast socially. And so for him to, kind of be taken under, Will Smith's fly wing, and, I mean, the flyness didn't rub off on him, but Carlton eventually loosened up. So for me, I identify with Carlton more than Will.
Nice.
Okay.
Well,
follow that.
Stop it.
Oh, she's drinking the water now.
Yeah, I'm drinking water. I would have to say that it's kind of hard to choose between the two, for me at least, because I feel like I identify with both. Whenever I go back to Philly, when I go back home to see my family, I do feel like a Carlton sometimes, like I've just been gone for so long. And then, when I'm here, people know I'm not from here. So I feel like I have that Philly swag, and I'm the cool one and I'm setting the trends, just kind of like how Will was, in the show. So I do like both. I identify with both. And as far as their relationship, I love it because you get to see that growth and development. I feel like sometimes we forget that they're cousins. It's like they're brothers, best friends,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that they both have learned something from each other. And I think Carlton actually got a little bit cooler um, in some ways, just from hanging out with Will. And I think that Will has kind of learned how to take life a little bit more seriously and not think that everything is a joke. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that their relationship is a beautiful thing. And like you said, RJ, at least it wasn't, you know, from the jump. Because if that was the case, it would be more corny. But yeah, I like seeing their growth. So I adore it. I think it's cute.
It's great.
Cute. Okay.
Little bunny rabbits. Cute. Yes, I see. What about you?
I think to piggyback off actually what you were saying, I think you bring up a good point as far as them having that feeling of actually being brothers, but they're not brothers, they're cousins. And a lot of shows don't bring that, not necessarily human element, but they don't bring that chemistry, I guess, to two characters that, created like they kind of branched out stories within the show because there's episodes about them single-handedly, individually doing something,
Mhm.
and you're still entertained because it's not the fact that one character is boring and one of the others like really good. It's like they're both funny and they're both good. They always dancing. That's what I think what everyone looks forward to them doing. And I just think that both of them have that spark. It's not one or the other. It's just both of them. And I think their relationship it's not, just two fires. It's like one big flame. So that's my opinion.
I definitely agree. I think that their energies definitely bounced off each other to make a big giant explosion of personality in these two characters that they're playing. But you can also tell that that's how they really act towards each other. That kind of sibling love, sibling rivalry, stuff like that. Even though they are cousins or anything like that, but my personal opinion, I think I'm gonna just go with Will. He's probably my favorite. He just had the most swag to me, and I love Carlton. Love Carlton. I used to do the Carlton dance. Every time. Trevor Jones, is that who sings that song?
Oh, I think so.
Something Jones.
Maybe, yeah. I
apologize. I apologize. But I used to do that dance all the time. So that brings me to the next question. How do y'all feel about the Carlton dance? Can you do it?
Oh.
You don't have to. You don't have to demonstrate.
I mean, that dance takes a while to learn. Like, it's complete opposite. You go this way, the hip goes that way, and you're like,
it's almost like the Dougie.
Yeah, it's a weird, I guess rhythm to it. Like you said, it's an opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know. It takes a lot. It's like every bone and muscle in your body has to wiggle the opposite way at the same time. It's just, I don't know. And didn't he come up with that like on the fly or something like that? Like how
I think so.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah.
I heard it wasn't his original. I think it came from somebody else.
Yeah.
I want to say, and he used it.
He made it famous.
Yeah. Well, that little thing he does when he goes like that. And that stupid smile that. Love it.
I love it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like low key, I have been in the room by myself and I've been like, and I bust it out.
Hey, you come in the house and like you turn on the music and then take a look around it.
Hey, I mean,
hey, I'll do it in front of people. I have no shame. I dance right in front of people. I'll bust out the Carlton dance. I'll get into it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact, Trey, that Will Smith posted your video, like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Oh
we
yeah,
talked
hey,
about
Casual
that.
Flex, my friends watching. Will Smith posted me dancing. I think it was last year sometime. I don't remember the exact
Yeah.
date, but he posted me dancing. If you guys want to check it out, I've saved it on my Instagram.
We'll edit it into the I'll go on your Instagram and get it. We'll edit it into your flex.
Okay, yeah, Casual Flex right there. But yeah, so Will Smith posted me. I wasn't doing the Carlton dance, but I was doing some pretty dorky dances, I'll say.
That is tension.
yeah.
Hey,
It worked.
it worked. Will Smith, post me again. So since that is kind of a fan favorite moment in Fresh Prince series, what are some of your favorite Fresh Prince moments? I know there's a lot to choose from, so it's kind of hard, but you know, whatever comes at the top of your head. What do you got?
Sorry. We care about you very much. That's mine.
Okay. Wow.
That's my favorite moment.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Right.
Um,
Oh,
go
you want
ahead.
to?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, it's so hard.
Oh, you know, I can go if you don't know.
Yeah. I really do, and I think it's pretty much everybody's fan favorite moment of when James Avery and Will Smith had that moment of when he was like, "Why? How come my father doesn't want me?" And like, that was a real. Not only was it a real breakthrough with his acting and just kind of finding himself even more through his role, but I think it was a beautiful moment for a nephew and an uncle because Will didn't have that father figure, and Uncle Phil was that father figure to him. And so even though they kind of had their riffs and their moments of, well, you're just annoying, like go in the other room, please, or whatever it is, they still had that love for each other. And I feel like, especially in most Black families, that's an important thing to see is that you're not alone and you can find that father figure within a male, with any male in your family, as long as they're willing to take on that role. So I thought that was that was my favorite.
They actually played my favorite moment. Hillary Banks, will you marry? When I tell you, and I even confess this, I wasn't that big of a fan until the show, until that moment. That is the first time I remember, like, how Black people laugh. We got to scream and run. That's the first time I remember scream, laughing, and running from anything, man. I was like, ah! And I got up out of my chair and I was running. That was the funniest thing to me. And the fact that she was so dense that after she said, "Oh, great, the president's going to interrupt my marriage proposal," that whole moment was just the funniest thing. That's my favorite moment.
That is all those moments are fantastic, Des. You kind of took mine. I'm a little upset. It's okay. It's okay. But that moment with James Avery, fantastic. I think another one that kind of showed the emotional kind of background of the show was when Carlton kind of OD'd on speed, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, had an emotional moment there. I thought that was one of my favorite moments as well. And also when Carlton kind of turned into a gangster for a hot second.
I remember that. Yeah. That was classic.
Classic. Because everyone's like, what is going on, man? This is not.
Yeah. Carlton?
Nah.
But so with that, there's a lot of fourth wall breaks in the Fresh Prince, as far as him just looking at the screen, or as far as Alfonso running across the whole set, or them making direct eye contact with the camera. How do y'all feel about fourth wall breaks in sitcoms? Because it's not the first show that we've seen that in, but I think I love it. I love fourth wall breaks.
I love it because I think it breaks all the barriers of shows and it just makes it funnier because as we saw in the scene, he's just running around through the crowd, and he's just running off onto another part of the set. He's all like, on the next part of the world. It's just funny because I think, you got to break those limits. Like, those moments where, like Will was explaining, looking at the camera, it's just, it's those moments where, it's almost like the crowd has to interact with you because you said something stupid or corny, and we don't have a choice but to look at you like, yeah, like, we see what you're doing. Like, so that's my opinion on fourth wall break. I think it's great.
Yeah, I say that, if it's within the script, if it makes sense, just go ahead and take the chance and do it. Like, I don't see a huge problem with that. And it's in the acting world, it's kind of like you're kind of dipping your toe in the dangerous waters sometimes, because you don't know if whether or not the director is going to be like, cut, what was that? Like, so sometimes it's a little bit, but I'm glad that they actually did that, because as the audience, like, it brought you in and it really made you feel like, yes, I am part of the show, and yes, he's talking to me right now, So I thought it was I think it's a wonderful thing to break the fourth wall every now and then.
I like sitcoms that break the fourth wall when it's not expected. Like Girlfriends broke the fourth wall, I think, like in season 1 a lot, but Joan was talking directly to the audience. So sometimes it was funny, sometimes like, all right, shut up and let the plot go. But I like sitcoms when they break the fourth wall and you don't see it coming, like the Will Smith when he was like that shit like that. Queen Latifah did it a couple times in Living Single. She would say something. Somebody would say Queen, and she'd be like, "Yeah, because I'm the Queen," and then turn to the camera. Like, stuff like that to me is genuinely funny. I feel like fourth wall breaks make whatever moment you're trying to portray, they make them 10 times better. The Cosby Show, the last episode, Cliff and Claire walk out hand in hand. So it's not only signifying that, that this is the last episode, is signifying that the show is like genuinely over. We're walking off the set, both literally and figuratively. So fourth wall breaks to me are great. I prefer fourth wall comedy breaks more, because I feel like it just adds to the humor, because it just adds to the ridiculousness of, I know I'm in the show, I'm in the show, now let's acknowledge it. So I love fourth wall breaks, man.
Yeah, I think fourth wall breaks are great. I just thought of a really good example of a fourth wall break, and then I just lost it.
I got one. So, Real Husbands of Hollywood, there's sometimes scenes where Kevin Hart will say something corny, and then he'll just like look at the camera. Like, I can't think of anything at the top of my head. I guess he'll say something. Who's in the show? Like, who's the character in the show? For example, like Robin Thicke was in the show, and he'll pull up on Robin Thicke, and like, Robin Thicke will have a girl next to him, and he'll be like, "Oh, Robin, I see that you like your girl's thick." Back to the camera. Yeah, I think that's just funny. I like seeing stuff like that, just because it's like, we know what you're doing. Like I was saying.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Mr. Ferb is famous for that too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. So a good fourth wall break I remember is when he goes, "We so rich, why we can't afford a ceiling?" I think that was pretty iconic moment, because you're like, oh yeah, this is a TV show. They are in the film studio.
Go to sleep, Will. Just go to sleep.
Yeah, just cut.
So, how do you guys feel about the style that everyone had throughout the show? How do you feel that their fashion kind of affected the culture at the time?
Well, learning that, Will was able to get like all the J's 6 weeks before it came out.
That must be nice.
Geez,
that must be nice.
That's okay. I wish I could do that. But I like how they're able to integrate culture into media, culture into television and TV shows. I think that that's very important, because it allows the audience to relate in a way. You have Will, who's from Philly, so there's a lot riding on him because of that. Because I know the style out there, the East Coast style, you know,
Mhm.
the vibrant colors, the hats and the
Got to
J's.
represent.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then for Carlton, it made sense to wear the stuff that he was wearing because I think that fully allowed Alfonso as the actor to get into character. And it also kind of told you what kind of background, you know, he came from versus Will's, and same thing with Aunt Viv and everybody else. So that's very imperative that you incorporate some type of culture, fashion, style, even down to the music into what we, the audience, are consuming. So,
Well said.
oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Very well said.
You do the show.
Yeah.
She pretty much stole the words out of my mouth. Yeah, RJ.
Well, back to you. All right. No, well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much accurate what she said. But yeah, the style I think on the show was dope, and I definitely think it both, I want to say, media and culture always influence each other. Media pulls from culture, culture pulls from media, and I feel like it's an ever, I guess an ongoing, cycle of just pulling from each other. But I think Fresh Prince's style was just so top notch all the time. Will Smith there was not a single episode where Will Smith was not fly. Even when he was casually dressed, he was always well dressed. So for me, I feel like I enjoyed not just Will Smith, just the whole family, everybody. The wardrobe, the costume design on that show was just impeccable. Everybody's character, everybody's, I guess, costume fit their character so well. And everybody had fly clothes on, whether you were Will Smith dressing, urban Philly, whether you were being preppy Carlton, or, Hillary with her, pantsuits or dress suits or whatever she had on. Hillary was always fly too. Everybody on that show was fly head to toe.
I will say just one thing. I mean, I think just as far as dress, like the dress code, I think hip hop, at the time was a very huge inspiration on how people were dressing, because like they were saying in the documentary, they were trying to try new styles to see what was fly and what was not. And I mean, that's just what, people do in general. We're all about new trends, and we just trying to find the next thing that's hot. And I think this is one of the shows that actually did, branch off into new threads of what, we want to dress or whoever we want to be. Yeah. So, I just think that it's I think it's cool. Just seeing that all different kinds of styles, because then it helps you kind of decide what looks good on you. So in a way, if you like that certain person, so I think it's great.
And it also showed that Black people aren't a monolith. We dress different ways, we talk different ways, we're from different areas of the world. I think that is very important to note as well. And like how they dress and fashion and stuff.
I definitely agree. I think that, first of all, I agree with y'all. Will Smith was just dripped out every single episode, to the fresh J's, to the pants, to the shirt, whatever it was he was wearing just worked. And I think that kind of, that's another reason how it affected my life, because I love bright colors. Got that from watching Fresh Prince. I'll wear bright colors all the time. But I do also like the fact that you get to see people of color, they're successful. That you see how successful people dress and what they do, and how they kind of live this life. And I thought that was really important for a lot of people to see as well. I'm not gonna go around wearing a sweater over my shoulders, but it's interesting to see that on Carlton. You know what I mean?
Somebody does.
I also think Space Jam had a huge inspiration around the time too, because that came out in the 90s. I think the Fresh Prince and Space Jam kind of helped push out the styles of dress like a basketball player, or just casual, whoever you are. Just it's just the style it was. So
And the J's, can I just say, as a sneakerhead myself, if I could have any of those shoes, I would be content.
I understand.
So we're gonna get a little bit into talking about James Avery, Uncle Phil, one of the main staples of the show. At this point in the show, it got a little bit emotional for me. They started going into flashbacks of him and talking about how he impacted their personal lives and, you know, how he carried himself on the show and just what kind of man he was. And, you know, I related to the show a lot because I looked at him as a father figure. So this started to make me cry. I'm not even gonna lie. I was getting emotional at this part. But so my question for you guys is, how did you see Uncle Phil, and how also do you think he impacted you know, many people's lives, kind of like as he did for me? I'm hitting y'all with the tough questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Just,
I'll go. So
yeah,
I
please.
think it's heavy, and the fact that it is heavy, and we all kind of sat here not really willing to go, I think that says a lot about who he was to a lot of people, a lot of leaders out there. And he was everybody's father in some ways. He was everybody's uncle. For me, he was an uncle. Because luckily, I was blessed with the opportunity to have my father in my life. But for those who may not have that father figure or a father, oftentimes people look to television and they try to spot someone that they wish, you know, was their father, or maybe they just could relate to them in some ways. And I think that James Avery was that for a lot of people. And it's sad. I really wish he was still here today. I can't believe he's gone. Almost like I can't believe Bernie Mac is. I still refuse to believe that Bernie Mac is gone.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's somewhere. But yeah, so it was hard watching that. I did tear up a little bit. But I know that he's looking down on us. I think that he's proud of Will and everybody from the Fresh Prince cast. So.
Yeah, I think he's especially proud of Will as an actor, because you know, to go from mouthing people's words on the set, you know, during a taping, to, you know, being the actor that he is today, it's an immense amount of growth, and it just speaks to how important it is to have a mentor in whatever field you're trying to break into, whether it's, you know, acting, marketing, media, social work. You know, I feel like wherever you decide to go into, you need some sort of a mentor to help guide you and kind of help you iron out the kinks in your skill set. And I feel like that's what he did for, you know, not just Will Smith, but for everybody. There's certain people that, you know, are just good at what they do and naturally gifted, but some people have that passion on top of being naturally gifted. And I think that separates those who are just good, great actors from those who are, you know, for those who have the ability to be a mentor. So for me, yeah, James Avery's absence is definitely felt. And you can tell in the cast, like, they're heartbroken even thinking about it. Eyes red, watering, you know, just it's something that, you know, it's unfortunate that he's no longer there or here.
Yeah, it is kind of touchy. And I hate to even compare the situation, but he was Chadwick Boseman before Chadwick Boseman or anyone knew about him. I think you didn't have to know him to know that he was a good person. We saw it in all the time, obviously through 6 seasons. We saw him as the, you know, not just as the uncle and the role model, but we saw him as a whole, like a true whole as a person. He was a great person who wanted to not just give back to the Black community, but he wanted to teach people around the world that life is hard and we have to make decisions for ourselves to guide us in the right way so that we can live our best lives. and he showed that with Will, this guy he never has met before, and it was on an offset that they had the relationship, and that's really important to have versus just being an actor. So I think yeah, it's touchy, but I think yeah, I he's looking like she said. I think he's looking down upon us and just wishing the best for everyone to not just carry on his legacy, but to just continue being good people. So rest in peace to James Avery.
First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Rest in peace.
Hey, that was very good answers, guys. I couldn't top that. But yeah, I think that he definitely had a big impact on many people's lives, and he definitely would. I think he'd be happy with the amount of impact that the show has on so many people and the lessons that he's given out that people are kind of taking to heart and stuff like that. But so my next question is Janet Hubert, aka the OG Aunt Viv. There's a lot of animosity and drama behind the scenes of her recasting that I personally didn't know about until I saw the reunion. My question to you guys is, did you know about any of that, and how do you feel about it? Yeah, let's just get into that.
Okay. I knew about it because I love TV, and I read everything. So I've read about it, before when it first happened and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, it kind of soured me on Will Smith because I always believed, Janet, especially when you know how I guess some younger actors can be. I never believed that Janet was the problem in that. Or now I will say this, I don't know what she was going through particularly, but I feel like I wish someone would have reached out to her and kind of dug a little bit deeper and say, hey, what's going on with you? I wish she would have reached out to somebody and say, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not difficult, but I'm going through XYZ. Now, as far as the whole Will Smith component of it, I feel like, we're all around the same age. Now, when you think about yourself when you were 20, 21, Will Smith's age, I can't honestly say in good faith that I wouldn't be exactly how Will Smith is, being that successful at a young age. So I don't blame him from me being 31, looking at a 20-year-old. I don't, blame him in that sense. But when I was younger, it kind of soured me on him because I knew that Janet was telling the truth, and I knew what it did to her career. Now, I will say this, I don't agree with the tactics that she used after everything happened with, making the videos and spitting the venom. I feel like, that kind of stuff is like a two-headed viper. If you bite your enemy or whatever, you bite the other head, you really poisoned yourself. So for me, I just feel like all that did was, have this cycle of venom over and over and over, going back between her and Will. But I am glad that they settled it, they squashed it, they talked. And I feel like what we saw was just a fraction of the conversation that they had, which I'm happy that they got to have that, full conversation behind closed doors. But I'm also glad they kind of brought it to the light because part of that was in the public. So part of the apology needs to be done in the public. I feel like however you offend someone is how you should apologize. So.
Agree.
Wow, that was really good. For me, I agree with you, RJ. I've always agreed with Miss Janet. I've always agreed with her. And I've always known that she was telling the truth as far as how she felt, as far as the situation that took place that kind of damaged her career. It took effect of it, and it made Will the star. If you have to sit there and kind of think about that and let that marinate a little bit, you could see how hurt she was, coming face to face with him, and finally, after 27 years, sitting down and expressing just exactly what she was going through when no one knew. And she even said, I think one important part of what she said, as a Black woman, your words of being difficult really hurt. It damaged me. And who does that kind of remind you of if you think of this situation? Monique and what she went through.
Yeah.
It kind of, and I was telling Jake, like it reminds me of how sometimes being a dark-skinned Black woman in this society, it takes us years to even hear an apology. And you felt that looking at her through that TV screen, how hurt she was. And I think Will knew. He knew, because you know what, in that moment, that was on Viv again, having a conversation with him. So that was a powerful moment. I'm glad that she was able to, and she apologized for her part as well. But I'm glad that she was seeking, I think that that moment was her seeking healing. And she knew it was time, as she said. So it's nice to see them come together. And I hope that they maintain a friendship after this. Hopefully it's not just for the show. I'm glad that she apologized for her part as well.
I agree with both of y'all, RJ, especially what you said. That's very special for you. My answer is a little bit shorter and simple. The whole thing was a mess. I think that they can move forward from this, but it's still hard, unfortunately, because, like you said, RJ, that conversation behind closed doors is probably even deeper, and they had to let some stuff be known. And can they move forward from that? We don't know. But that's the problem with sometimes not just the media, it's the fact that we don't dive deeper into actually what happened. And she was going through a lot. So I was on her side with you. I agree with both of you. So I've always thought she was telling the truth, and she went through a lot. And, you know, she didn't speak much about it. And, you know, at the time, she did come forward. And that's the thing with, as Desiree was talking about, with Black women in the media, they don't really get appreciated because they think that having a lighter skin tone, you know, because if you notice, there's a lot of light-skinned girls in movies instead of darker-skinned women that could be in the same role. They think that it's less threatening, and it's not really fair because we need to start appreciating the talent over the tone. You know? And I think that plain and simple, that she was a great person to set that tone for darker skinned women in the media. Unfortunately, her career was kind of a mess just because of what happened. So, but still, I think they can figure it out. And yeah, it's a tough one.
Y'all showing out today.
I'm saying.
Man said talent over tone. Y'all showing out today.
Y'all giving just A+ answers.
Pilot episode.
But hey, I agree with all of you guys. I think that she definitely went through a whole lot that we didn't really see, and you know, even that we did see, it was just not fair to her, and it kind of just ruined her whole career, unfortunately. But I am glad that they kind of worked things out. I hope they can continue to be, you know, friendly and talk like I'm sure the rest of the cast does with each other. But the way that they were kind of acting in the show, I feel like they will carry on the bond that they have, which I love that. And so my next question to you guys is, it's another hard one. So who is your favorite Aunt Viv? Personally, I love the OG the best. That's my absolute favorite. I love both Aunt Vivs, but Janet Hubert, she has it for me.
Me?
Okay. I have to be careful when answering this because I don't know if I'm gonna run into them or whatever. Because of my career field, but
right.
I'm gonna say it this way. I really like Janet. She's a nice person. She's cool.
Go ahead, politically correct answer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, RJ, for that cover.
I like Janet. I like, the OG.
I gotta say, I gotta go with the OG Viv, just because I feel like her character had a lot more to do, and they dialed back Aunt Vivian's character after Janet left. So we really got to see. I don't know if you guys know what the sexy lamp test is in television and in movies with female characters. If you can replace a sexy lamp, a woman with a sexy lamp, her character's not strong enough. Basically, Regine from Living Single, a lot of scenes, if you watch, she literally was just standing there. She could have been a sexy looking lamp and no one would have noticed. So for me, that's kind of what they did with Vivian's character. And they didn't, for me, I felt like her character was a fraction of what the original Aunt Viv used to be. And that's the only reason why I have to go with the OG Viv, was because OG Viv had substance to her character, whereas and Vivian was literally just the mom figure. She really didn't bring anything extra to the show. She just filled in. Not to say she didn't do a good job of what she was given. Her performance was phenomenal. But as far as like character development, storylines, and, bringing like heart to the show, I got to go with OG Viv.
Okay. All right. Very good answers, guys. Once again. My next question is, watching the whole series of Fresh Prince, there's been so many characters and not many of them show back up. But someone that we did see with the recasting of Aunt Viv was Little Nicky. How do y'all feel about seeing Little Nicky a grown man? How was that for
She
you?
was weird.
I was asking. I was like, "Where is Nikki? Like, where's Buckwheat?"
For real.
Yeah. And finally, he shows up, and oh my gosh! I mean, of course, his voice changed and stuff because that comes with growing up and hitting puberty. But he still looks the same. Those eyes and the smile. I just wanted to come here, sugar. So it was really nice to see him. It was quite a surprise, but I just kept asking him, "Where's Nicky?"
I feel like they didn't bring him in though because he was so young. He probably didn't remember much and didn't have anything to add to the conversation. It's like Raven Simone. They interviewed her about the Cosby Show, which I read somewhere she hasn't even touched her Cosby Show money yet. That woman got money. But anyway, they asked her about the Cosby Show, and she said, "I don't remember it. I really don't remember it at all." She said, "I can remember smells. I can remember, little things here and there." She said, "If I smell something that reminds me of the set, I'll remember something." She's like, "But I was so young, I couldn't remember it." So I feel like maybe that's why they brought him back, like just for the end, because he didn't remember anything. But there was no time jump though. He just was a baby, and then next season he was a kid, right? There was no time jump.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. He was like a newborn, and then he was walking and talking.
Yeah, nobody questions that.
Yeah.
It's TV magic. It makes sense in TV.
They didn't even explain it.
Like in Full House with one of the Olsen twins. Remember how they kept switching?
Yeah.
So he didn't really get to grow into the role.
Yeah. Personally, I thought it was weird seeing Nikki as a grown-up because there's certain people who I'm just like, yeah, you were cuter as a kid. And now seeing the kid face on an adult body, I'm like, it's a little weird.
It's like a Snapchat filter.
Exactly. Like, not saying he looks bad, but I'm saying, he still looks like his kid self, but as an adult, it just looks weird to me. Jay, how about you, man? How'd you feel?
I mean, he looks pretty much the same. Like, you got the same teeth that stick all out and things there, and I mean, it was cool seeing them. It's just I agree with all of you. It's just kind of weird seeing how he didn't really he was just born, and it's like 2 days later, you're grown up. It's like, what? But you were born yesterday, man. And it's like he's walking, talking. He's got a polo tee on, and he got the Nikes, and I'm like, dang, you grow up quick. They must grow up
fresh,
quick. Yeah. But I mean, it was cool seeing him. I mean, he's part of the family. He's in that show, and he's got some funny lines, and he's always putting Will in check.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually grew to love him because at first I didn't like the idea of Aunt Viv having another child.
Yeah.
Like, come on, isn't Carlton enough? Like,
He's already a baby. Like,
Right.
what are we doing here? But and then you got Phil who's middle aged, and I'm like, well, are you sure this is a good time to have it? But anyways, I grew to love him. I really, it was just one of those things where it's like, is that a good idea? But then, as you watch it, you're like, I actually love this character.
And that's great, man. I like the scene they show in the reunion where Nikki says, dying is a part of life. And that's when they were kind of doing the James Avery stuff. And that's when I was like,
Yeah.
Woo, excuse me. What was that? So my final question for you guys is, so they kind of talk in the reunion about how when people would go to the tapings of Fresh Prince, it was live. It was like a show. You'd have everyone come out and dance, and Will would come out and, they'd be playing music, and he just put on a whole live show for you guys. So my question is, if you all were to go to a taping of any Fresh Prince episode, what episode would you have wanted to see filmed live?
The finale.
Ooh.
The finale.
Very good answer. Very good answer.
Yeah, the finale, definitely.
Gosh, that would have been super emotional towards the end.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, you would.
Where's the person?
Because you're seeing the end of this era of fantastic TV show. That would be pretty emotional, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple, I think it's just, that's something that you have to see because, you watch it on TV, but that last moment is like really special because, you as a fan watching on TV, then being there with them, you feel like you're in the family too. So, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I would have to say the episode where Ashley was kind of starting to find herself and she started singing. Like, knew she had a voice until that. But I was like, whoa. And just seeing her growth and how it's kind of hard for Will and Carlton to accept that their little sister is this beautiful woman that guys are starting to look at. I think that episode I really like, and I would have liked to see that live.
Nice.
That was a good episode. It was.
Absolutely. I think I would have loved to see. It's one of two episodes. One episode where Will has to be in like the kids' choir group, and they're singing "My Little Sunshine." I think that would have been a hilarious episode to watch live because I already know he would have turned up at the after that episode because they were already putting on a concert. Why not? And then the other episode, the famous one that we talked about earlier with him and James Avery, and they're talking about his father, because I know the whole audience was just in tears. And that would have been a really cool moment to be a part of.
No.
Yep.
I agree.
But yeah, guys, that is all the questions I have for you today. Thank you for giving such wonderful answers. Very insightful and well-spoken. You're well-spoken people.
Thank you.
But you guys can follow us on the Blurcher, or for the Blurcher, excuse me. Follow me on Instagram at MaximumSpider, @Maximum_Spider. I'm also on TikTok at SpiderBoy. And then plug your channels, guys.
Oh, okay. I'll go. So I'm currently known as Movie Vibes with Desiree on YouTube. Not posting videos for a while, so yeah. But you're welcome to subscribe. On Instagram, I am Desiree Geraldine _. And do I have another? No, that's it. Oh, and Movie Vibes with Desiree on Instagram as well. There you go.
Yeah, I'm at Hero Harrison Talk at on Instagram. So just Hero Harrison Talk all together. That's it.
You can follow me on Instagram you can follow me on Instagram at the Silver Site. I was about to plug my follow me on follow me on Instagram at the Silver Site. Be sure to like all my videos on YouTube and subscribe to my channel on YouTube, also known as the Silver Site, where you can catch For the Blurcher, as well as a couple of other projects we have up and coming. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms that you see scrolling before at For the Blurcher. If there's a social media platform out there and you're looking for us, type in For the Blurcher, and more than likely that's us.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Get us on there, guys. We're gonna be coming out with a lot more content for you guys. A lot more Black nerd culture for y'all. A lot of videos. So just stay tuned, and we'll get into it.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
got a lot coming to y'all, a lot.
We got a lot of heat coming. Like
Yeah.
we got a couple of videos that we have planned and we're going to be working on within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And remember, Blurred is Bond.
Blurred is Bond. Quincy, if you're watching, Blurred is Bond.
Later, guys.
Deuces.